Welcome everyone to Coffee with a Poet, and we are here today with the amazing Jamie Oberto-Bessing and Jean Walton.
Yes. Thank you for having us.
And thank you for being in the studio today.
Yeah.
We're excited that you're here.
We're excited.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
Yay. So talk a little bit about how long Missfit Press has been. Talk about Missfit Press and what it is and how long you guys have had the publishing company.
Well, I'll start at the beginning with why it's called Missfit Press and where all of that started, really. Everyday Girl Adventures was a business idea I started 3 years ago with just an idea of wanting to show people how to find more fun and adventure in their life, because I always find the silver lining. I always find that fun and adventure and funny moments in the day, and I wanted to show other people how to do that. So I started with this business idea, and then I felt like a misfit in the business world when I started this journey. And so somebody told me at one point, many people told me I should write a book because of all of my stories. And so I was like, well, I could, or I could invite other people to be in the book with me, because adventures usually have multiple layers and different characters. And so I decided I was going to write a book called Everyday Girl Adventures, and I was going to invite women to tell their adventure stories in it. And so along that journey, Jamie here and I became business partners through this venture when I told her my fun ideas, and she wanted to be a part of it. And so we've kind of grown it together from just this idea to turning it into not just a fun venture, but events and a social club, and then publishing our own book, Everyday Girl Adventures, actually exactly 2 years ago. And after publishing Everyday Girl Adventures, I published it under the Everyday Girl Adventures brand, because I didn't know where it was going to go. We started doing this for fun and the experience of it, but we realized how hard it was, and we wanted to share that with people. And so that's why we created Missfit Press. And because I felt like a misfit in the business world, and I started a networking group called Missfit Networking, MISSFIT, where every misfits. That misfit name has just kind of stuck with people. People just really like it. And we're kind of those misfits that don't always belong in some of those business settings, and some of the things we do, we're new to it. And so we decided to take it seriously and not only publish our future books with a publishing brand. We decided to call it Missfit Press, but we wanted to publish other people's books as well. So a year ago, we published our second book, Everyday Adventures, and not just women wrote in it, but men did as well. And we're getting ready to publish our third book, which is going to be focused on everyday hero stories. And so there's many layers to that. And I believe you're going to be a part of that project. So we're really excited to share news about that. But I'll let Jamie discuss what we've been up to with Missfit Press in the meantime.
Okay, thank you.
So since we did our own, we of course offered our services to others to get their stories out there. We realized that you can spend thousands and thousands publishing through these big companies, but why? It's a lot of work, but it could be much more affordable, and people don't need all the services. So we wanted to offer what people do need to them, kind of a la carte services, and kind of tailor what we do to what they need. And so we meet with our authors and really dive into their story and what they want to portray, really work closely with them. And some come and they just have their whole thing ready to go. They just need to actually publish it. And some are like, I just have an idea and I need to know where to get started, and everything in between there. And so in the past year, we published, in addition to our two, we published 7 other books for other authors.
That's excellent.
5 of which we have right here today. So, and all genres too. So we have the poetry playlist, which was super fun to create for a local poet here. This is a psychological thriller that we published, super fun as well. And then we did, this is a money education book, financial education from a local financial advisor. And so helping young adults with financial planning and things like that. a kids financial literacy book as well to teach them about how to start saving money and thinking about needs versus wants, and really just get them into thinking about, okay, money is something that I need to start saving and earning, and how can I do that?
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and then
It's an untapped market too, and and I looked into this to see what other things and resources in the children's arena were out there, and there really isn't much for this basic money. What would you call it? It's
like just the
the
genre.
education of saving and planning for your financial education.
Yeah, I have
for your
never seen
financial
anything
future.
like that at all.
And we've
so.
talked a lot about it too, because I am a first grade teacher, and we talk about money, but not in that kind of sense. It's very like skimmed over nowadays in common curriculum.
Right.
And so it is something I think that kids need to start learning, especially because there's so much just at your fingertips nowadays. Kids don't understand that there's value in that like they used to. And so
Right.
bringing something to the forefront for them that's fun was kind of the idea there.
That's perfect.
And then we have a local children's author too, and this is one of the 2 books we published for her in the Pock of the Penguin series that helps kids handle big emotions, which is also a very common thing right now, especially in elementary years and lower, just learning how to handle and react and cope with their big feelings and situations. And so Pock of the Penguin is also an interactive book. She's got a website as well that it will read to them along with this. And
excellent.
and it just teaches them how, just different coping mechanisms.
So it's like an audio book then.
This one's not an audiobook. The author actually did a recording herself on her website there, but it's not a specific audiobook at this time.
Oh, okay.
But the physical book to go along with it so they can follow along and hear the voice too.
Oh, what a great idea.
Yeah, so it's similar, but yeah. So, and that's one of 2, and we're actually looking at doing her 3rd one in this fall coming up. So we are already in the process of that.
Wonderful.
So
Do
pretty
you
exciting.
read that to your students at school?
I did read the first one last year. The second one I will be reading this year. We deal with a lot of the emotions at the beginning of the year in certain lessons, so they tie really nicely in with the themes that we do. And so it was really cool to read the one last year to them, and then now be able to have the series to go along with it. So
That's wonderful.
yeah.
Excellent. All right. So, so you said you've got 7 total, right? 7 books that you've published so far.
In addition
9,
to our 2,
actually, yeah.
9 with
9.
our 2.
So we're
personal
working
ones.
on number
Okay.
10
With the
coming
heroes?
out. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And when does that book come out?
It's going to be by the end of this month. We're just ironing out the last minute details. We just want to make sure, because we learn a little bit more each time we do these things, but you always run into those little glitches, and we'll reread them, and we'll fine tooth comb everything before we say, okay, we're ready to hit the publish button.
So if people want to get a hold of you, Missfit Press, you have a website.
We do, but something to remember, and everybody forgets this because a regular spelling of misfit is MISFIT, and we spell it with 2 S's because we're girls,
Yes.
everyday girl adventures, and so where every miss fits. So
Yes.
2 S's, MISSFIT, where every miss fits. So misfit.com with 2 S's. And then
Excellent.
you'll see our happy faces and our story and some of the books that we've published as examples, and how to sign up to schedule.
The consultation. Yep.
So, So you said you market through Amazon, Barnes and Noble, but I know personally you do a lot of marketing as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, our socials, of course.
Yes.
You know, I have a lot of socials. When you have a lot of businesses, you have a lot of socials. But personal socials, of course, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. But Everyday Girl Adventures, Misfit networking is a big one because I started a networking group and we're almost at 1,000 people now. So that's pretty exciting to see something that was grown organically that women just signed up for, and even some men are in the group and show up sometimes, but we showcase a different woman-owned business all over town once a month, and so that's a pretty big platform and audience that we get.
We also participate in the local Colorado City First Friday, and at the shop we have down in
and we
Colorado
have a
City.
store.
Yes, we have a storefront, so we do feature the books in there also from the authors that we publish, and so we promote them during our events down there and have them readily available for people to look through and purchase down there as well.
Yeah, people love a book launch. They love to come and meet the authors, and that's a great way to promote. So
So we're starting to do not just our own book signings at First Friday, but also some of our local authors too, because it's a really good opportunity for them to get some exposure with the local community. And not just that, blind date with the book club. So I started ordering, because this is a phenomenon. Are you
I've
familiar
heard of it.
with
Yes,
it?
I've heard of it, yes.
And anything that's a fun adventure. Blind date with the book club is kind of like an adventure. It's like opening a gift. I think that's why it kind of blew up so much. And I started seeing it and I was like, I want to carry these. So I ordered some and it went really well. I couldn't keep them in the store. And so we started handpicking certain indie books and just even some gently used books that we have, and just kind of trying different things. And I started inserting some of the local author books as well, and that gives them some extra exposure, because I can't keep them on the shelf. So people have been buying those pretty right and left, and so that's been really neat. And I've had people reach out to me too and be like, what a great idea. And actually, the poetry playlist, I wasn't sure how to do it with the poetry book at first, but we did it. And I had a woman reach out to me and she said, I bought this blind date with a book, and it was the poetry playlist. And she was like, what an amazing idea. And she was just really impressed with it. And I think it gets people into poetry that haven't had that experience before, didn't really know much about it. And I didn't really officially before working with this author. And so the interesting thing about that is, after working on this project and learning a little bit more about poetry, I have attended poetry slams, and my actual story for the next Everyday Adventures book is actually written like a poem.
Yeah, I can't wait to read it.
So it's been a very fun journey.
All right, so did you want to add anything, personal experiences as authors? Did you have anything else you wanted to say about that? Or if not, we can go to the next question.
I think that, insights are always good. For me, something that people always tell me is, they don't know how to get started, or they don't think that they can be an author. And I think anyone can be an author because we all have stories. And so there's a lot of insecurity when it comes, and a lot of people want to write a book. And I didn't know what I was doing before this, and I wouldn't say that I have all the answers now. We learn as we go. But that's what I'm trying to inspire, that if a regular everyday girl like me can decide to write a book and put it out there and do that, anyone can do it, and you can learn along the way. So my personal experience, I want to show that these things are attainable, and it's not easy. You do have to have a lot of determination and ambition to do it, but it's very fulfilling and worth it. And so that's what I would share with anybody that wanted to know that perspective.
And I think for me, I've always been, writing's very vulnerable, and I struggle in general, like with just sharing thoughts, and especially writing. Like, she can't even read my story till I'm like 100%, And so I'm very, that's very personal to me. And so with Missfit Press, that's one of the things that's been really important to both of us, is understanding that it is a vulnerable process for people and making that accessible and make them feel comfortable. Keeping their voice in the story and making sure that they're sharing them, and they're not just going to be bulldozed but into what we want their story to be. We want it to be theirs. And so I think that's really important to know about Missfit Press and our process, because that's, like I said, near and dear to my heart as a writer, and hers too.
I couldn't have anybody read my writing before we started doing this. It is a very vulnerable thing. It's really hard to do. I've had a lot more practice than you, because I started having you edit my writing anytime we got interviewed, or I had to write something for a magazine or something. I'm like, all right, check it over and see. But it was hard for me at first, but she's done it for me so many times now. It's gotten a bit easier, but it is hard. It is hard to share your thoughts.
Do you have any stories in your upcoming book?
I do. So I have one that I was going to put in there, and then I started this last weekend working on possibly a different one. So if I can get it done in time, we're going to spin that one in there, because an idea popped in my head, and sometimes my better stories come out like that. So but there will be one regardless in the book. I just haven't decided which one.
Wonderful. So where do you think that you're headed next after this book is finished? What projects are you thinking down the road?
Well, for publishing, we already have some authors in the wings. So they're already in contracts with us. And so we're going to continue publishing books. We're going to be continuing to help, especially first-time authors, and then sometimes authors that didn't feel like their book got the exposure. We've done a couple of those. We've done a second edition for a couple of authors because they published 5 years ago and they didn't feel like it was getting any traction, and so they wanted us to put a fresh spin on it. So we do that as well. But that's, as far as Missfit Press, we're going to continue doing this and see where it goes. And I never in my wildest dreams ever knew that I was going to be a writer, let alone a publisher. And so this is a big surprise to me, these last 2 years of doing this. And it's really exciting to see where we go. And that's the thing about adventures, is they take a lot of twists and turns that you don't expect.
And we've been steady busy in the last year. I don't think there's been a gap in publishing. We've got 3 in the works by the end of the year. So
That's excellent.
I mean, that's in addition to ours. So
Right?
yeah.
So you mentioned open mics, and I know that you have an event coming up.
And actually, yes, speaking of Misfit, kind of this went along with the stories, because I already had a platform for women at the networking events, for women to feel welcome, to come and to connect. But then we started publishing books, Everyday Girl Adventures, sharing women's stories and everyday people's stories. And so the next thing that came from that was, well, if I'm going to do this, well, why don't we do a theater production next? So I have these crazy ideas that pop into my head sometimes. And I've seen monologues. I've seen people do these events where they get people on a stage and they tell their story. So it's not anything brand new. It's not anything I made up. But what I do different is I always wanted to do a variety show, funny enough. I come from a family of performers, and they're musical mostly. But I just thought it would be really fun to have a variety show of people coming up and performing different acts. And so with Everyday Girl Adventures and people sharing their stories, I was like, well, instead of doing a traditional monologue, what if we had them share stories in different ways? And so the Misfit Monologues, which also has the M-I-S-S way of spelling, is on September 25th at Peak Improv Theater. We have auditions next Monday from 2 to 4 at the Everyday Girl Adventures studio in Old Colorado City. And if people can't make it to the auditions on Monday, then they can send in to my email, jean@everydaygirladventures.com, if they would like to submit a video. But it can be a story, it can be a traditional monologue, it can be singing a song, it can be doing a dance, it can be playing an instrument, designing art on the stage. There's really so many ways that you can tell a story. And so that's why the Misfit Monologues, I was like, if I'm going to do monologues, if I'm going to do stories, and it's going to be Misfit, then it really should be variety and different ways to tell stories. And so these things all kind of evolve into one thing and then the next thing. And so that's another fun way to use the Misfit name that we have. This is going to be the second annual. The first one was last year on September 26th at Peak Improv Theater. And it's going to be at Peak Improv Theater again this year because they were so easy to work with. And it's such a fun community theater. Have you been there?
No.
Oh, well, you have to.
Yeah, I want to be in this. So.
And if you're going to be in the show, and hopefully you will be, you'll see it. It's very fun. And I'm pretty proud of what we did last year. So I'm excited to see where things go this year, because we also publish a fashion show, which called Celebrate Her for Women's History Month. And that's kind of where the spin-off the fashion show, I decided to do the theater production, because we did 2 years in a row of Celebrate Her to kick off Women's History Month, to fun community women's fashion show, women's showcase to celebrate Women's History Month. We do that at the Antlers Hotel. So the third annual will be next year on February 28th. But after successfully producing a fashion show, it just made sense to do a theater production next. So we do one in the spring and we do one in the fall.
That's wonderful. Excited.
But sharing stories, so like, it's really what we have. It's our memories, right? And everybody has stories. And
That's
so
true.
I just feel like if we can provide all these different platforms for them to have a voice, that's what we're going to continue to do.
Excellent. Thank you. Anything else you want to add?
I'm just super excited to see where this is headed. So years ago, I had a dream to do something with journalism, and I let that go because I was homesick and moved back home. And so this is kind of my way to get back in there. I've always loved editing and writing, and so I think it's really exciting to see where this will take us. It's already come a really long way.
I've seen you edit. You're an excellent edit.
Why, thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, everyone, for joining us with Coffee with the Poet. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.